Welcome to Scorched Death and a general reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of February. I hope you are. I'd just like to take the opportunity to say thank you for waiting for me. I know I was absent from the channel a little longer than I said that I would be, but I was so very, very tired and I didn't realise until I'd stopped for a bit, and then, you know, as these things do, I had a ton of IRL things that required my attention, so I had to prioritise the expenditure of my energy. Nevertheless, I am here, and thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the act. It's there will be an extended at the end of this video, so if anything that comes up here resonates with you and you want to look into it a little bit deeper, there's a link down in the description box. You can follow that to Vimeo. We'll break it down a little bit over there. I've also done a 2021 overview for each of the signs, so if you're interested in that, that too is down there. And I should just mention, if you support me on Patreon at the higher tier, you get all of the access to that as part of your membership fee. So any extended content that I do gets mirrored over there, and you can access it, you know, in perpetuity. So we're using the Lost Forest deck for you today. See what comes up. Can I have 3 cards for Gemini, please? Oh, there's the first one. Got 6 of Cups. The 9 of Wands. Oh, tumbled out. And the King of Skies, which is the King of Swords in a standard deck. We have the 3 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, which is really quite interesting, followed by the Tower. Now the Ace of Wands is underneath that, and I love that because the Tower is it's destructive energy, right? But at the same time, it is creative energy, because what it's doing is it's pulling down something in your life, possibly that you didn't even realize was there. And for some of you, it will be some internal pain for sure, and giving you the capacity to rebuild in some way or another, right? Energy cannot be destroyed, it cannot be created, it merely changes form. And this is what's happening here, you know, something that you spent a long time building, and it feels to me that you didn't even know it was there, really, has come to a point where it needs to be revealed, it needs to be seen in order to be processed, and in order to give you access to the new, to the potential, right? It's creating space is what it is, actually. So the reason that I say it's from the past and that possibly you didn't even know it was there was because that very first card is the 6 of Cups, and it's in the reverse. 6 of Cups talks about the past. And that can take many forms, you know, that can be your recent past, that can be your childhood. It can actually, in some instances, indicate past lives. But it is also the card of childhood. Now, the fact that it's in reverse says to me that there's been a desire not ever to go back to that, right? And the problem is that in the refusal to engage with that, what you did was build a tower. Right, and now it's time for the tower to come down. Gosh, I need to pull some clarifiers before I start whittering on. Yeah, we'll go with the standard right away. Oh. Hope you've got nicer weather where you are. Oh, actually, it is quite nice, but it's deceptively cold. It's bright outside, but it's like -2. A little bit much for this fire sign. Anyway, let's get some clarifiers here. Can I have the 6 of Cups in reverse, please? Why is that here for Gemini? Ooh. Thank you. Oh. That 3 of Swords is flipped in the deck there. We have the 6 of Wands in reverse. I'm just going to show you that that's there. I'm going to put it back in because it didn't jump out, and we already have it out on the table anyway. So why is the 6 of Cups in reverse? Oh, is that what I thought it was? It is. It's the 4 of Pentacles. Okay. Tell me about the 9 of Wands, please. Ooh. There's a King of Pentacles there. Taurus energy. Why is the 9 of Wands here? Ooh, we have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the 5 of Swords, and we have the Hanged Man. Ooh, I like that combination, actually. Tell me about the King of Skies, please. Tower again. Pop it back in. skies, please. Ooh. We have the Page of Cups. We also have the Magician that's flipped in the deck there. I'll fucking flip this over. Very chatty, the cards this morning. It seems like they probably would like to say a lot of things, and I'm kind of restricting them somewhat. Coming out the King of Swords. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Right. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Swords, followed by that Three of Swords again, right? We're not getting away from that. This whole reading seems to be in some way predicated on this notion of past wounding that you have been very reluctant to visit at any point. Right, I need one more deck. Oh, that's interesting. Going with the Deviant Moon. I love that deck so much. Okay, so Six of Cups in the reverse, right? When it's in the upright, it talks about all of those things that I mentioned before, but it can also talk about a feeling of nostalgia. There is no nostalgia for you in the event that we are talking about here. It is characterized almost entirely by pain. Right? So there's no desire to go back to it. There's no desire to revisit it. And perhaps to some degree what you've done is kind of put it in the box and just sort of slid it under the bed. But it feels like it happened quite some time ago. So it could be that even if you have been doing shadow work of some description, you know, you haven't actually been aware of the nature of the box. Like it's, there's just this kind of signpost in front of it going, thank fuck we're away from that, right? We don't do that anymore. But what we have underneath it is the Six of Wands in the reverse, more six energy. Both of them talking about movement, and these are talking about not moving. And we've got this Four of Pentacles. Now the Four of Pentacles speaks very much about that energy of holding on to something too tight. But this is the thing, I don't think that you realized that you were holding on to it. And in no conscious sense were you actually doing so. It was, oh, how do I put it? The unconscious energy of keeping it in the box, under the bed, out of the way, is the thing that is holding on to it, right? By not pulling it out into the light and looking at it before now, what you've been doing is holding on to that energy. Right, we don't have a look at it down there. Tell me about this Four of Pentacles. Whoa. We have the King of Cups, that's Scorpio energy. We have the Page of Swords, and we have the Hanged Man. It seems like you've had a bit of a revelation. Let us not forget that we've seen the Tower a number of times now. And this is your recent past. So I feel like this is something that you've been experiencing in the moment, in right now. It quite possibly relates to family. We've got the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. And we have the Nine of Pentacles beneath that. Now, normally, that is a card that makes me feel quite positive, because that is somebody, you know, who is very self-sufficient, independent, capable of taking over their own needs. But for me, it feels a little bit more like abandonment here, a necessity to be independent from a very early age, because without it, right, you would not have been able to function at all. It is in some ways kind of trauma 101, like snapping back into a sense of independence because of an age that you were too young to experience it. Here you were having to be that person there. Now, we've got the Star underneath here, which is Aquarian energy again. Oof. And we have the Three of Pentacles underneath. It's such an incredibly weird deck. I love it so much. It's like your subconscious has been writing a script that you weren't even aware of. And you've had literally no sense of, because this thing's been shoved under the bed and ignored for such a long time. It's like this script has been written by it. And it's etched itself on your very, very soul. And this is why the Tower is such a big thing, because you genuinely didn't see this coming. So we come down here. This King of Cups, like I said, Scorpio energy, but it also talks about, emotional mastery. It talks about being open and available, but giving too. And we have the Page of Swords and we have the Hanged Man. It feels to me like you have realized that there's been an aspect of yourself that has been kept very, very tight. And this isn't like you. Certainly for the Geminis that I've been reading for, self-improvement has been somewhat of a watchword for a long time. You've been dealing with an awful lot of things. This feels like it's kind of broadsided you from nowhere because you didn't perceive it. We have the Page of Swords, and that is about, mental expansion, the processing. It is the discovery of new information. And it is something that's rather turned you upside down here with this Hanged Man. You're seeing everything a little bit differently now. Now, this isn't a punishment by any means, and I really hope that you understand that that's the case. This is an opportunity for you to be able to finally process this thing that has been rooted very, very deep in you, and benefit then from the wisdom that comes thereafter. For the most part, I feel like most of you really have done that, because we're in this recent past energy here. But it was a bit of a shocker. And I think it's something that you've had to sit with a little bit, because, you had the initial blunt force trauma of the Tower there, exposing all of this pain underneath. But actually, the edges of it and the tendrils of it, they really reach in deep, and you've had to sit with it in order to truly be able to work out where the edges of this thing are, if indeed it has edges, and it may not, right? If this is something really, really profound, then, and by that I mean I'm talking about that things like the mother wounds, this is a big part of this, then actually there may be no aspect of your life that is not touched by this in some way, right? You feel it in your very soul. And so those tendrils, it's more a case of kind of being able to identify where they are rather than being able to actively pull them out and start again, because this shit, it runs very, very deep. And it might be that you can deal with the initial impact of it, straight away, but the rest of it is going to take time to filter through. Now, in your present energy, we've got the Nine of Wands, and I like that very much for you, because that talks about boundaries to me. Sometimes it can talk about the need to erect boundaries. Other times, it's an observation of good boundary setting. I actually think for you, it is good boundary setting. Now, we've got that Hanged Man again there. We also have the Ace of Pentacles, and we have the Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords, let's skip straight to that for a second. 5 is inherently unstable energy. Whenever you see that, there is disruption implied by it, right? That thing that Aquarian Insight from YouTube always used to say, like, 5s are the agents of chaos. It is designed to be disruptive. But with this being Swords, we're talking about communication, right? Internal communication, external communication. How you talk to other people, how they talk to you, but also how you think inside your mind, right? Because that's how you internally express communication, right? It's to yourself. It's the way that you think. And so often what I see with the Five of Swords is corrupted thought patterns, right? Cognitive loops that we get stuck in one way or another, a level of mental gymnastics, if you will, that have, as some sort of protective coping mechanism, have come into play. Now, the problem with those is that they are ultimately quite limiting. With it coming out underneath the boundaries card here, I think that you've spotted somewhat of a hole in your boundary wall. Boundary fence, let's not build walls, right? And it's something that runs so deep, and it is so subtle that it's actually, and I should point this out, right, that no matter how profound the experience of discovering this is, and it was with the Tower, let's not fuck about here, right? It was profound. It was also something that was incredibly nuanced. It was something that was very, very well hidden from you, by you, to be fair. And there's a certain amount of work implied to get to a point where you noticed it in the first place. Right? This is not something that you've idly wandered into. This is the result of having done an awful lot of work on yourself, released an awful lot of things. You know, if you've got a room full of stuff, you can't tell what's in there, right? So you've got to start at, you know, the stuff that's closest. Before you know it, you've made yourself, you know, a little bit of room to work in, and then you can start chipping away at the rest of it. The more stuff that you release from this room, the more able you are to identify the things that still remain within it. Right, and that feels like it's where you're at the moment, right? We've got something that was hidden right at the fucking back, right on the floor, you know, probably under a pile of clothes or something. Yeah, something like that. Something that has been, up until this point, hitherto, completely obscured from your vision, and in the act of clearing out this space, there it is. And it may feel like it was completely glaringly obvious now you've got there. Like maybe you could see it down the side of, you know, a pile of boxes, and you're like, oh, it's that pile of clothes. But actually it wasn't. And there was an incredible amount of work that had to be done first before you could get anywhere near it. Now, tell me about this Five of Swords, please. What do I need to know about this? We have the Devil and we have the Tower. This Tower are those cognitive loops that I was talking about, the ways in which we have performed mental gymnastics in order to avoid looking at a thing. Right. And this is the point. It takes a certain level of conscious action to be able to uncover something that you subconsciously have hidden from yourself because you're not prepared to look at it, you know. It's revealed the Devil. I love this Devil. He's so fucking sinister. Look at him. Look at the way he's moving as well. And this is the thing. He is moving. He's not static. Right? Just creeping up on you. Creeping up on this tower, in fact. It could be that the extent of the revelations perhaps are not quite done for you, Gemini. There are maybe a couple of other things that will occur to you. Because this Devil is in motion. Okay? And I say this a lot about the shadow particularly. It is not a static construction, right? It's dynamic. It moves with you just as your consciousness moves, right? All of these things are constantly in flux. This is on the move. But having identified it, having dealt with, like I said, that blunt force trauma of the Tower initially, it's opening up something that you can look in, and it's absolutely related to your boundaries. But here we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Hanged Man here. These are first off new opportunities, right? And it, well, look, it could indicate a new job, you know, a new house, an improvement in your financial circumstances, or rather an opportunity to improve your financial circumstances in some way. But like I haven't seen the Ace of Pentacles as just money for a very long time, because it's about energetic resources, and those can be your time and your care and your effort, but they can also be things like your self-esteem and your sense of self-worth, right? This is all energetic currency, and far too often we hand that currency over, right, to other people. We willingly disempower ourselves by receiving the projections and internalizing them from other people, right? Now this here seems to me like an opportunity for you to completely eradicate whatever this is here. It is an opportunity for growth, not a punishment, and I really want you to understand it in those terms, okay? But what I'm looking at here, right, with these two cards, what I'm really drawn to is just the pentacle and then the halo around the Hanged Man's head there, right? There's an opportunity for some really incredible insight, for sure. Wisdom, guaranteed. but it is something that will affect your material circumstances as well. And I'm not saying money coming in like this. I'm talking about the way that you show up in the world, right? The opportunities that you create for yourself. It actually feels, and this is the bizarrest thing, like an incredible fertile place for creativity for you. There is something contained within there that is actually extraordinarily useful to you. And, you know, I think that about the shadow anyway. You know this, right? I've been banging on about this for like 2 years now. Right? We know this is the thing. I often see the High Priestess and the Devil together as the energy of the artist. Right? The two things go together really beautifully for me, because that High Priestess is channeling something. I mean, where do ideas come from? From your brain, really? That is literally just a bioelectronic machine, a bioelectric machine. It's just synapses firing, you know, charge being passed between things. We don't know where the seat of consciousness is. Science can't tell us where it is. Is it in the brain? Probably unlikely. It's somewhere else. It's somewhere outside of here. Right? So when you're employing this High Priestess energy, you're drawing that inspiration down from somewhere, wherever it may be, right? And you are then able to process it. And the purview of the Devil is the entire material realm, right? So when an artist gets an idea and then they start to construct something from it, sculpture, modeling, writing, painting, even dance, you know, anything that has its expression in the material is the purview of the Devil, because the Devil isn't actually all bad. Here we don't have the High Priestess. We do not have an active channel. Oh lordy, it's the postie. I'm gonna have to go and get that. Bear with me a sec. How embarrassing, sorry about that, Gemini. Right, get my breath back. Now, we do not have the passive channel that the High Priestess is, right? The information moving through her and then coming to here. But we do have another card of Pisces. We have the Hanged Man. So perhaps this is the step before the active channel comes through. It is the understanding. It is the creative sparks in the head that begin to fly before all of the proper information comes through. It's a starting point, right? Just as the Ace of Pentacles is a starting point here. There is something extremely valuable in the discoveries that you are making, right? I notice here at the bottom of the Deviant Moon that we have the Nine of Cups there. And in it, this chap is he's rubbing the lamp and the genie's coming out. You know, it's a nod to the fact that sometimes this card is called the Wish card. But the chap who's rubbed the lamp looks really shocked. Really, really shocked. And it's like the surprise at what it is that you actually want, what it is that will make you content, what it is actually that you maybe have gratitude for. Maybe what you've experienced here is actually something that in bare months you might turn around and go, that was the best fucking thing that ever happened to me because of what it started. It feels like it's the beginning of a chain reaction for you, Gemini, and I can't stress the importance of this at all. So when we come to what's coming towards you in February, what we have is this King of Skies, the King of Swords as it is, this Aquarius energy, and we are currently in Aquarius season. It's worth remembering. We also have the Page of Cups and we have this Knight of Pentacles here, and I actually really like this combination. I know there's no major arcana here, but this feels like the processing stage. This is what's happening in February, right? The King of Swords is the pinnacle of that active mental energy, right? We're not the pinnacle, because I think the king and the queen together represent the pinnacle. They are, of course, the masculine and masculine and feminine expressions of that incredible air energy that is all about the intellect. It is all about what is going on in here, right? It feels like it's paving the way for the creativity to come in, because, you know, before you can access that creativity, there is a degree of processing that is going to need to occur here, right? Of everything that's being revealed to you. With the Page of Cups, there is... The pages are often messengers, but I don't generally interpret them that way. For me, the Page of Cups talks about forgiveness and compassion and a gentle acceptance of things. A gentle acceptance of the violence. Gemini, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. That's what I was just told. A gentle acceptance of the violence that was wrought upon you at some point. I don't mean that you think that it's okay. Absolutely not. You know, it couldn't be further from the truth. But an acceptance that it happened. And then, by extension, a release. A very calm, a very measured, a very engaged release of what happened before. Oh, feels really quite profound, Gemini. And what I mean by all of those words, you know, engaged and measured and considered and all that lot is because we've got this King of Swords here, right? It's not like you've just gone, whoa, bang, blunt force trauma. Shit, that was awful. Didn't really enjoy that very much. Right, well, forget about it now. Now that I've noticed it. Thank you for revealing it. Now I'm okay. Like, no, that's not what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing here is somebody who is sitting with this energy. Somebody who is actually actively gold mining it for the important things that they need to learn from it. But then actively, gently, in a considered way, in a compassionate way to you, accepting it and then letting it go. Right, let's see what's the Page of Cups. Ace of Wands. The card of, you know, creative potential. Ooh. Yeah. We have the Knight of Cups and we have Judgment. Actually came out the other way around, Judgment and the Knight of Cups. It's extraordinary. But there is a real, and it's very real. It's very, very tangible to me. It's almost, you know, I can almost touch this here. There's almost like a swelling of your emotional capacity that comes as a point, as a result of this, you know. Remember these two shadow cards at the bottom of the deck here, right? Your heartbreak has kept you restricted, but more importantly than that, you have kept yourself restricted off the back of this heartbreak. And this swelling that I'm feeling from you is you absorbing this and then releasing the negativity from it, retaining the important parts, which is the experience and the lesson, but releasing the restriction that comes with it, you know? It could absolutely transform the way that you see yourself, actually. It's certainly increasing your capacity to love, which I understand how strange that sounds. That final card there is the Knight of Pentacles, and I like this for you because we've got more of that considered, engaged energy here. This is not just a flippant, well, like, shit, that was awful, now I move on. Like, this is really, really gold mining what has been going on here and pulling it out and going, this is an incredible gift in here, in this experience. I can do something with this. There is something really creative for me here, you know, and it might have its expression in something entirely different, but this is where it starts. Like I said, it's like a domino effect. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Emperor. We have the Emperor. Knight of Pentacles. Well, what do we have? We have the Eight of Swords in reverse. Wonderful. Oh, Gemini, look at this. And you have the High Priestess and the Moon. This is fucking magical. I love this. Wow. Here's the opening of the channel, Gemini. Here it is, right? The Emperor does not turn away from battle, and neither do you, Gemini, right? You've seen something here which, yes, was a bit of an ambush by your subconscious, but you're looking at it now, right? You're taking control of it now. You're not going to let it have the benefit of doing this to you again. And so to that end, you must truly engage with it, and engage with it on a powerful level, that which you have the capacity to do. And in doing so, completely release yourself, because we have the Eight of Swords in the reverse here. But what a magical combination here. This is deep, dark, feminine right here. Right? This is mining the shadows, mining the hidden things, but also opening up to something truly exquisite coming in. Because ultimately, you are an expression of the universe made flesh. You, right here, as you're talking to me. Right? And what you are doing is opening that channel of connection up. February is an exquisite month for you. Like, it truly is. And it feels like you will be changed by the end of it. Holy shit. And in the best possible way. Like I said, bare months from now, you will look at this and see this as a turning point. And also for the blessing that it is. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Right, I'm going over to Vimeo right now to go and look at this a little bit deeper. If you want to join me over there, that's cool. If you don't, that's all absolutely fine. Also, I'm so excited. Right, know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.